Hello and welcome to Afternoon Tea with Karen and Local Council News. Help for sports clubs. The City of Ballarat's new video series is part of our commitment to gender equality in sports and recreation. Learn how your club can increase participation of women, girls and gender diverse people. According to the Ballarat Council and the Victorian State Government, women and girls includes trans women and men who self-identify as women. Anyway, let's watch the videos.
Belonging,
opportunity,
empowerment,
upcoming,
community,
change our game.
For a club, once they start to get into the diversity and inclusion space, I think what they're going to start to notice is that they're going to attract and retain new members.
I started out coming to Fitskate as a way of getting out of the house and getting fit after having my kids.
by far our biggest member source at the moment is the Roller Skate Fit Club. We started out just doing roller derby, but we've been able to incorporate all these other skating streams to just get people on wheels, get people active.
We've also encouraged our players to bring along a friend so that we build that connection, and it's much easier if you know somebody to come along to a new sport.
From the first training session that people turn up, just get around them, help them out when they need help, make them feel involved and welcome from this beginning.
We started looking at different groups that we could connect with, different sort of community organisations, and then just people coming through in our come and try group. So we run those every weekend from 10 till 12, and it's just an opportunity for anyone to come down and have a go.
One time we had like 40 people here, and a lot of them are transgender, which is fantastic. And here at Wendouree Archery Club, they've just been so supportive.
By taking the focus away of being the perfect skater or the best derby person in the world, it means that people can come in at any level and they have the same value in the league if they've just come in and done an intro to derby course to someone who's been here the entire time, and there isn't that hierarchy.
When we look at which clubs are successful, it's those that are diverse, it's those that do encourage everyone to get involved.
We do a lot on social media. We advertise all our events, and we consciously make sure that we showcase women in those posts as well.
Our social presence is really important, and we keep our female teams and programs in the spotlight. Just that means we're getting the reach and our output.
It's great to see all the young girls getting into it as teenagers, but for women my age, I think they feel like they can't do it, or it's something they can't take up at this stage of life, but you can.
And in particular, those that have moved to have programs that are specifically for women and girls and gender diverse people, they're the ones that are growing.
Through the consultation process, what we found is that newcomers, and let's use the example of a 5-year-old girl being introduced to basketball for the first time, was kind of threatened by the environment of a lot of people around. So we commenced a girls-only program.
Most of our Aussie Hoop programs are still mixed gendered, but this all girls just allows for any of those girls or gender diverse people that may not feel comfortable in that environment, so they can continue growing their love for basketball in a safe environment that removes all the barriers that may follow.
I feel really happy to play sport, like I have energy.
Definitely do the come and tries, because they're ideal for getting into a new sport.
It's great for your fitness, it's great for making new friends. I have made so many new friends and you won't regret it.
They've just been so supportive.
It's just such a happy club.
Everyone accepts me for who I am.
I think to me a safe and inclusive club is one that has a strong culture around calling out disrespect.
As a board, we've been involved in some bystander training, and it was part of our strategic plan. For 2025, we're pretty excited that that plan will roll out for our senior men and women's coaches and for team managers as well as part of that process.
All the boys that I've played with having my back, knowing that I'm capable to be playing in this comp. And I felt like that, yeah, it's sort of helped me to sort of realise that, like, I can do anything.
I think one area clubs can really benefit is induction. So when a new player joins a club, or a president or a coach, and they go through that induction orientation process, making sure that you get across very early on what your values are as a club, what you stand for, what you tolerate.
We get given a code of conduct with our contract at the start of the year. Basically, men's and women's get around each other, no matter what game it is, where it is, if you can make it, try get to it.
Inclusivity is one of our sort of key drivers, and it's part of our development plan for the club. All of our coaches, part of Archery Australia, our coaching program includes an inclusivity component to it. So there's a unit that we all complete as part of that.
City of Ballarat is actively supporting clubs and associations with funding to undertake the appropriate training, whether that's bystander training or other forms of training that are going to help the clubs be successful in this area.
At the moment, we're working on a Pride in Sport Index benchmarking submission and get their support to find out what else we can do to help educate members more broadly.
Being conscious as a group of the language that they use, the way we set up our forms. We've had conversations with Archery Australia again about making sure that's appropriate for people and inclusive to capture everyone.
That's why it's so good here at the Archery Club, because they get everyone's genders correct.
We did a bit of a rebrand of our website earlier this year, and we were really conscious of making sure that it showed a real variety of people, whether it be young, old, male, female, to try and entice people to say, look, it doesn't matter who you are, you're welcome to come and try.
You don't have to have the answers as a club. The people in your club will know. So go consult with women, girls, gender diverse people, ask them the question about their experience in the club and where things can improve.
By actually getting out there and asking the questions, having some visibility around saying, even with player uniforms, is there any adjustments that you would suggest that would be required? And there has been. That's something, interestingly, that we would not necessarily have picked up ourselves, but it came through as an absolute nugget of gold through that process, and we've made some changes.
Successful clubs will be those that can welcome everyone.
So sporting clubs are not alone in this work. There's a lot of support available for them that they can access, so definitely we can support them every step of the way and hold their hand throughout the entire journey.
I think it's that first step is the hardest. It doesn't matter whether it's in sport, life or business. I think you've just got to commit to that first step and pick something small, chunk it down and just get started.
My main tip would be reach out. Don't wait for people to come to you. Put your hand up and say, this is what we want to do. We want to make this a safe place for people, and go and do the training.
Sport is for everyone.
Fair access is a must. It's not negotiable and certainly worth the investment.
City of Ballarat has got a policy of active women and girls and fair access. So what that does is guides our investment decisions. It means that we can invest in improved amenity facilities, whether they're change rooms, improved lighting to provide more opportunities for participants in sport.
And it really put on the agenda the barriers that women were experiencing, opening up some change facilities for some netballers and talking to the netballers and saying, well, what did you do before? And they're talking about changing behind a tree and in their car and that sort of stuff. Yet the guys had pretty elaborate, well-established facilities and amenities. And so that was my aha moment to go, wow, we need to do better.
What we've worked towards doing is ensuring that our female participants have got the same access as our male participants. Basic things like the change rooms, they're gender neutral toilets in there. When our female participants are in those change rooms, they're the only ones that are in the change rooms. We also make sure that our male and female participants have got the same access to equipment, so footballs, bibs, etc. There's no distinguishment between their equipment and other players' equipment, and it's all the same value and the same condition.
With the equipment, the mallets that we use, if you find a mallet that's the right size and weight and all the rest of it that suits you, you're able to borrow it, so you don't have to have an outlay.
Within our programming and booking courts and so forth, there's no consideration that one is more important than the other.
We have categories for all females, so typically you sometimes see smaller categories for women, but we actually have the same amount of categories that we have for men, we have for females. We're starting to look at inclusive disability, with Creswick opening their trails with adaptive trails. So that's one of our areas that we really want to look at.
Our male and female participants both play on the stadium pitch, which I know for some of our Melbourne teams that's a big draw card because they don't get to play on the beautiful pitches back down in Melbourne as much, so they really love coming here and being on the main stage.
Being able to train even on the number one pitch, so we get to train on this once a week, the men get to train on it once a week, so it's really nice and fair.
In relation to playing week by week, the draws are generally just drawn out of a hat. So you play against different people, you play on different courts. So there's no one person that's making that decision and, you know, being fair or unfair to other people.
It benefits clubs because they'll retain people, they'll provide that safe space, they'll provide the opportunities that everybody's looking for.
And importantly, what we did in my first year was to ensure that the payments for players, or the budget for players, both the men's and women's program, was the same. So we had to trim, in fact, year one, the boys, and put some money over the girls program, and that's held us in good stead.
I always think about what I would like and how I would like to be treated. So I would encourage any leader in any club to think about what opportunities they would like, and irrespective of gender, just provide those opportunities.
I do feel like I have a future in soccer because of this club and its support and everything. It's been really good.
I guess gender equality means to me that it's all fair.
Gender equality means having fun, being social and building confidence.
Gender equality in sport is important because unfortunately not everyone who walks through the doors of a sporting club has a positive experience, and that's especially the case sometimes or often for women, girls and gender diverse people.
I think that when you are creating equality within any organisation or club, sporting club, it's got to come from the top.
I guess what I'm most pleased about is it started off being a conscious decision to monitor what our gender ratio was, and what we've been able to do is engage great people.
At a governance level, we've got leaders that may not necessarily have anything to do with football but bring their skills that are quite transferable.
So I also think it's important to challenge gender roles in those levels, so not always having a man who's the president of the club or women who are the treasurer or the secretary of the club, not always having women who are the ones volunteering in the canteen or men who are the ones pulling down the nets.
Over time we've had more and more of our board members ask the question and challenge, is this something that we aspire to? Those rich conversations at a board level have really moved us in the direction that we are currently heading.
The City of Ballarat can support clubs, A, because we have a policy position around this. There are also opportunities to get support through grant opportunities. We also have a staff that's able to help liaise and facilitate activities and to support clubs in what they want to do in this space.
You're not going to eliminate violence against women if you're not having men as part of that change process and standing up, using their voice and educating themselves on what violence against women looks like and how they can be part of the solution.
I think there's lifelong learning, so using resources that are in abundance in Ballarat has been quite informative and enlightening for me personally.
Sport has a really loud voice and a really big stage to make a difference and to raise awareness of gender-based violence in the community, and especially if it's their leaders who are really getting that message out there and carrying that message.
We also create opportunities for our juniors to not just play football but also coach.
I think I would have been a bit nervous asking to do it or putting my hand up, but I think the director of coaching staff encouraging me to keep coaching definitely built my confidence and made me feel like I was doing a good job at it.
I'm 19, I only want to have a bit of fun with my cricket, but if I can help develop another girl into like being a rep cricketer or something, that would mean the world to me.
Over the past few years it's sort of grown because you've got more people to sort of look up to, and girls being like, oh, I want to be as good as, for a cricket example, like Elise Perry, like I want to be as good as her, I want to play like her.
It really means the world to have good role models up the top where where it's important, and then yeah, you don't have to look at the men and pretend to be them because you've got awesome women up the top as well.
Now, from the Women's Health Grampians organisation, let's check out the training from CORE. Right, the training you can access here. The cost is a couple of hours for $700. Gender equality for managers, gendered violence deep dive. More men are victims of violence and homicide than women. Anyway, more training, 3.5 hours for $1,125. And I'm out of time. We'll have to leave the Pride benchmarks for another time. See you later. Bye.